Hey, Eagle Run 23 here. I did something I swore I'd never do. I traveled on an airplane. Well, I don't like to travel on airplanes, but I traveled on an airplane with a rifle. Just got back from Utah, did the backfire long range accuracy challenge that Jim hosts on his channel once a month. Had a great time. Utah is beautiful, but because I have a pretty busy schedule, I didn't have time to drive. Now, ordinarily, my wife makes all of the travel plans. I have one of those wives who goes over all the details, handles hotels, airplanes. She does it all, and I'm willing to drive her anywhere she wants to go, mostly with a smile on my face. But in this case, I was kind of on my own. My wife was not going with me. I was traveling by myself on an airplane, which I don't like to do, and I had to take a rifle with me. So I was very nervous about all that entails because I don't even know what all that entails. I reached out to several buddies, a couple of people who I know travel pretty regularly with firearms. Mostly these are competition shooter guys that I kind of know from the YouTube world, and then one of them actually has a channel and travels quite a bit for his channel as well. So talk to these guys just to figure out, like, I like to know what I don't know, and so trying to learn what I was up against. And it turns out that there are some horror stories out there, but luckily for me, this went really well. So in this video, I'm going to go through real quick, tell you what I did to get prepared to travel with a rifle. This video is sponsored by Condition 1. They make the rifle case that I took to this event. I got it in just for this trip. I needed a little bit bigger one. This is actually the second case of theirs that I have. If you stay to the end of this video, we're going to talk specifically about that case, give a little review on some things I liked and stuff like that. But starting off right now, we're going to talk about how to actually make this happen and make your trip go pretty smooth. So preparation, this is where I failed. We learned a couple of things there at the last minute. So you need to get on your particular airline and figure out what their rules are. So in addition, there's the TSA rules, which apply for everyone, and then individual airlines kind of have their own policies and things like that as well. They are all a little bit different. I traveled on Southwest Airlines, leaving here from the DFW area. They had the best price and the most amount of flights, and so I went with them. So before you go to the airport, here's what you need to do. Get yourself a case. It has to be a hard-sided case. There are some rules on dimensions. I did not entirely realize or appreciate that my case was the exact largest dimension that they allow. Thank you, Condition 1 Firearms, because they hooked me up on that part. You need to get yourself a case, and then you need to go through and grab your padlocks. Now, you can use TSA-approved locks. That just means that they have a TSA master key, and they can open your case whenever they want. You don't have to use those, though. You can use just any shank-style lock. I have a 4-pack of these from Master Lock that I used. I'll have a link for these on the blog that we have for this video. You can pick these up on Amazon. They arrive really quick. You do need to test fit these, though, because I left them in the package until it was time to go to the airport, and I realized that the distance of my case and this edge was really tight. I had to kind of cram it up in there in order to get them to lock. Wasn't a big deal. There was just very little margin for error, and had this shrouding, there's like a rubber shrouding on this padlock. Had it have been any larger, it would not have fit. So test, when you think you got a plan, test it and make sure that it's good to go. All right, so you've got your case, you've got your lock, you've done that ahead of time. Next, you need to go through your gun and double, triple check that it's unloaded. That's standard practice for us. The magazines also have to be unloaded. You can store a magazine in the gun, but any other loose magazines, they can't go in your carry-on. So you're gonna have to check magazines. I did lose an AICS mag at the TSA. Learned that one the hard way. So just make a spot and put them in your case. If you have extra mags, put them in the case. Also in the case, you're probably going to want to put your ammo in that case as well. But this is where we end up with a bit of a crux. If you're going to carry on like your clothing and stuff in your regular suitcase, you can't put anything gun paraphernalia in there. No loose mags, no ammo. things like that. All that has to be in a locked, checked bag. Pay attention to your weights because I was overweight. And had I have known I was going to be overweight, I should have just crammed all of my ammo in that case and I had like 40 extra pounds to give once I went over the weight limit. So you're going to want to try to get as much in that case as possible. So I actually cut my foam out so my ammo would fit in that case. And then I had a couple extra boxes of ammo that actually went in my check bag that went under the plane. So no issues on any of those things, but just make sure of your weights. I mentioned I traveled with Southwest Airlines. They actually classify firearms as a sporting good. So you don't need to say anything to the people that are around the area. I'm traveling with a sporting good, if that's all you want to say. It was like $100 total to do my rifle on one way, and that's because I was overweight. It would have only been $75, I think, had I been underweight. I was real close to the weight limit anyway, and I should have just kept stuffing more ammo in there, and that would have probably been better in the long run. And also, I could have carried on my other bag at that point and saved that bag fee as well. Okay, next step. You're all set. Now we're on our way to the airport. When you get there, you need to make sure you know where the counter is for your airline. So sometimes there's like a little extra counter, or like this one was, I think Southwest called it like a help area. You're going to need to go to that one because those are the people who can check in your firearm. They're going to give you a little card. I had 2 firearms in one case, which is no big deal. You don't need to write down serial numbers or anything. You just have to write down what is in there. Sign the card, turn it over. There's some more information about the gun. That card actually goes in the case. They open them up and they check to make sure they're clear. Now, the interesting thing for me, and I'm not ratting anyone out here, the interesting thing for me was she asked me if it was clear. I told her it was clear. She did not physically check. I did tell her it was clear, and she made me promise and sign that it was clear. Now, the big surprise here was she actually complimented my gun. She said, "Oh, that's pretty." I kind of felt like I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing, and so my guard was definitely up. They were very nice. Of course, I'm traveling from Texas to Utah, so probably not going to have a ton of negative, depending on where you're traveling, that could be a little bit of a different situation. But for me, she was nice. She buttoned it up. She watched me check the locks on there and put it onto the conveyor belt. Now, here's something that is not written down anywhere that I learned in the moment. Because I chose not to do a TSA lock, when they scan my case, because it still goes through, x-rays and whatever, when they scan my case, if there was something in there that they didn't like, something that appeared to be illegal or something, I don't know, they were like a bowling ball with a candle sticking out of it. If they saw something like that, they're going to need to get into your case. And if you don't have a TSA lock, they can't get into your case. And so she actually had me stand. She said, wait here for 10 or 15 minutes. If they don't call your name over the loudspeaker, then you're good to go. So I looked at my watch and I stayed there for 15 minutes, and then I went through security and got on the plane. Thankfully, everything looked to be fine, I guess, via the x-ray. But I didn't know anything about that. No one's ever mentioned anything about that before. One more thing about the ammo, it does have to be in the original box. If you're a reloader, you need to put it in a specific plastic case where there's a spot for each bullet. You can't have a bag or a box of loose ammunition. It does have to be individually containerized if you're a reloader, and then if you're buying factory ammo, it's got to be in the original box. Now, she mentioned when I got to Salt Lake City, she mentioned that my gun could just come out of the oversized baggage carousel, which was a little concerning to me because, there was no one checking that, anyone could just go through there and pick up a gun. I thought that was kind of weird, but when I actually got there, the oversized baggage carousel where, the golf clubs and hockey sticks were coming out. I waited there for a while. I didn't see my gun. Talking to a guy next to me who was in town for a archery elk hunt. That was pretty cool. Talked to him for a while. We're waiting on our stuff. Turns out we had to go to the actual oversized claim area, a little room. You walk in, you give her your ID, your baggage claim, and she pulls out your item individually, which is good because I was worried that my gun was just going to be sitting there and anyone could pick it up, which doesn't make sense. I should have known better, but a little different than what she told me from actuality. Bottom line, I should not have feared this as much as I did. It went very smoothly. It was very easy. Big thanks to Condition 1 Firearms because their case made the job so much easier. It's a big, heavy case with wheels. Well, the case isn't heavy. It's heavy when I have all my crap in it. It's a big case, and it's got great. I mean, these are. I don't know who makes a nicer gun case. You're gonna say I have a Pelican case and it's fine. If you like your Pelican case, that's great. But if you're looking for like the top of the line rifle case, I don't know what is above Condition 1 Firearms. It is a premium product. They're not ridiculously expensive. It held up. I mean, it was only on an airplane a couple times, but it held up really well. There's no gouges or scratches. If you watch those guys on Instagram, they are torture testing their stuff, which is kind of fun to see. So riding on an airplane, it was no big deal. My guns arrived perfectly fine. I didn't even have to mess with my zero. Altitude, I was up and down velocity was my only issue with my zero. Left and right, everything stayed put, and I had two guns stacked in there right on top of each other, and it worked just fine. So a little short video here at the end. I'm going to tell you about the Condition 1 case that I used, but thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Sun is coming up. So let me show you that I actually have two firearms in this case. Got the 8.6 Blackout here on top. And then hiding underneath, we have the 6.5 Creedmoor. Highly recommend these cases. Check out Condition 1 if you need a top quality case.